In this video, you're going to learn introduction to angles. So imagine you are in a soccer competition and you need to score a goal. So there is angle A, angle B, and angle C. So which angle do you think will score? If you were to say it's angle A, then you are right. So you could see that angles is important in real life, and in this video I'm going to share with you on what is an angle, how to measure angle, and how to create angles. So you can take out a paper and pen, and if you see a question you can pause the video and you can do the workings or even just draw the angles itself. Then once you're done you can unpause the video to find out if you get the correct answer. So let's get started with the first one, which is what is angles. So just to ask you another question is, if you're walking straight, are you turning? So if you see that if you walk straight, you don't really turn. So the answer is no. So the thing is that when we are walking straight, we are taking zero turns. We don't really move from left to right or make any turns, right? So essentially, zero turns is equal to 0 degrees, right? And the thing is that if zero turns is equal to 0 degrees, then how many degrees if we turn one time? Now, I think this is pretty straightforward. Not a trick question, but the answer is one turn will be equal to 1 degrees. So we will turn a little bit to the right and then we will just walk towards 1 degrees to the right. So the thing is that another question, how many degrees if we were to turn 10 times? So if you say 10 turns, you're right. So that means it's 10 degrees. So then we will turn a little bit bigger than if we were to turn 1 degree to the right. 10 means 10 times more, right? So then we will walk towards the 10 degree. Yeah, the walking is a bit weird. Okay, so an angle essentially is how many turns to move in a certain direction, right? So this 10 degrees is represented over here, where this little orange curve is saying how many degrees we need to turn to get 10 degrees over here. Or we call it what is the angle, as what you see over here. So degrees is just a way for us to say how many turns we need to turn to get a certain number of degrees. So 10 degrees can also be represented in this way, and also this way. Because what is important is the turns that we are making, no matter which direction we are pointing at. And at the same time, it requires us two lines as well. So angles can be found in a clock. So you see there's two lines over here. This creates an angle, or in a compass where if you were to go to the woods and you want to go to a certain direction, angles can be found in the compass as well. And angles can be found in shapes since there are two lines at one corner of a square or rectangle. You could see there is an angle, and in a triangle, since there are two lines that meet each other, then you see how many turns to just get that two lines over here. So in math, there's actually different types of angles. So the first angle that I want to share is this thing called a right angle. So right angle looks like an L. L for lose. No. So an L, essentially there are two lines that meet and it looks very, very straight. So what we call it is they are perpendicular, or the two lines are perpendicular to each other. And right angle always have a 90-degree angle. So if you were to literally just turn to the right or left 90 degrees, you will just move to the exact right or exact left. So that is a right angle. Another type of angle is what we call an acute angle. So when you like, oh my god, so cute, right? It's usually because something is a little bit smaller. So acute angle is just another name for smaller. And this means that the angle is smaller than a 90 degrees angle. And you remember what a 90-degree angle is? Yes, you're right. A 90-degree angle is a right angle. The next one is a straight angle. Pretty straightforward. It's just a line. So there is, in a way, that is two lines that meet each other, but they form a straight line. And this is measured to 180 degrees. And then lastly, you have this thing called a obtuse angle, where this angle is obviously more than a 90-degree angle, but is smaller than a 180. Okay, so this is not really the last angle. I have a question for you. Is this an obtuse angle? So do you remember what an obtuse angle is? First, an obtuse angle is bigger than 90 degrees, right? So this is larger or bigger than 90 degrees. But is it smaller than 180 degrees? Not really, because this is way more than 180 degrees. It's not even a straight line, it's more than that, right? So this answer is no. So that means this is another angle, or this should be the last angle, that is called reflexed angle, which is basically an angle that is bigger than 180 degrees. Yeah. Now we know the different types of angle. Now, how do we measure an angle? So you can pause this video to, measure this angle. So you can take out your protractor. If you're watching from a screen, then maybe it's a bit weird. If you are watching from an iPad or even from a phone, you probably can measure this angle. So once you have done measuring this angle, you can unpause this video. So I'm going to share with you on how to measure an angle. So first thing first is to add a small line in the middle of the angle, as what you see over here, right? You remember, make sure it's perpendicular, where this is 90 degrees. Then after that, what you can do is to bring your protractor over here. So the thing is that you need to align the line from the angle to the line of the protractor, as what you see over here. Then once you are done with this, the next thing is to align the notch or the small line that you cut half of the angle itself to the protractor. You see the protractor have a 90 degrees, and then you make sure you align like this. And this is how we measure our angle, as what you see over here. Okay, so once you're done, then the next thing is that we are going to measure if the line starts from the right, we're going to read from the right, because you could see that there is numbers that is starting from the right, which is 0 and 180. So if the line starts from the right, then what we do is that we start from 0, because the line starts from the right, it starts from 0, and then we count 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 until this over here. And then the thing is that this is where I'll give you a question. Is it 110 degrees or is it 70 degrees for this angle? If you think it's 110, you are right, because this is where, like I said earlier, we actually measure from 0, and then we will count up from the right until we reach the 110, as what you see over here. All right, let's go through another example. So as per usual, what we need to do is we need to put in the line in the middle of the angle. And then after that, we bring out protractor and make sure that the line is aligned to our protractor from the angle. And at the same time, the 90-degree of the protractor is aligned to the little line that we have drawn, as what you see over here. So this is how we usually start. Okay. Then the next part is we then start from the left, because the line starts from the left, as what you see over here, right? So then we will start from 0, and then we count all the way up here. Okay. Then we count from the left. That's what you see over here. All right. Is this 70 degrees or 110 degrees? If you say it's 110, you are wrong. The answer is actually 7 degrees, because the line starts from the left, and then we will just count up to 70 degrees, as what you see over here. So the starting line, if it's on the left, it's 0. If it's on the right, then it starts from 0, as what you see, and then you count accordingly. Now you know how to measure the angles. The next part is, how do we then create the angles? So first is that maybe a question is, draw a 60-degree angle. So what you need to do is to draw a straight line. That's what you see over here, using a ruler. So make sure you have a ruler or anything very, very straight. Second thing is that, just like how we measure angles, we also need to create a notch over here. And this small line is at the end of the line. So you don't have to draw very like a very long line, enough for you to have a protractor that you're going to measure. Then after that, put your protractor over, and as per usual, make sure the straight line is aligned to your protractor, and the notch that you have drawn is perpendicular to the 90 degrees, as what you see over here. Then after that, you want to draw a 60-degree angle. So make sure you have your 60-degree angle over here. And the line you see, this is where you're going to put your dots or small dot. Okay. I put a big dot because later it will be very small. You guys can't see it. All right. So this is a 60-degree point. And then you can remove your protractor. And what you need to do is to draw a line from the notch to the dot that you have created using a ruler or something straight. And once you are done with this, then you can draw a curve to signify that this is 60 degrees, as what you see over here. So when a question asks you to draw a certain degree of an angle, in this case 60 degrees, so this is how you do it. And that is an easy win. So congratulations, now you know angles, the different type of angles and measuring and creating. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you want more of this kind of videos, subscribe down below and comment down what are the topics you want me to go through next. See you in the next one. Bye bye.